yeah. Um, anyway, what was I even going to be talking about today? Personality and mental health. So I just wanted to put a couple of different things out there that I've kind of like learned throughout my autism journey and just mental health and kind of what has helped me to sort of like, I guess I would say like find, the good parts about me again, because throughout learning about autism, there's a lot of negative things that you hear about, and it's hard to sort of like see all the good with the bad. And then if you are late diagnosed or you've gone through the process of just finding out for yourself that you're autistic, it can be really hard because a lot of us do go through a lot of trauma and bullying and other stuff like that throughout the time. So our personalities can change from, when we're a child and, before we do go through anything, and then when we grow up. But like if you're autistic, then you're still autistic later. Like I was an autistic child. I went through different trauma. So when I was an adult, I also had different mental health, but that didn't take away the fact that I was autistic. And there seems to be a lot of misconceptions on that. I cannot talk right now. But yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions on that. And I'm just going to kind of like iron some of those out in my way, or like what I've done to sort of continue on with growth in my life instead of just seeing all the bad or like messed up stuff about me or about my personality, whatever. So whenever I was in the stages of finding out that I was autistic, I had been told like everything else under the sun. And this is why live videos are harder. I assumed that she was going to be set up enough, and then I am completely distracted because we were just having a really rough morning with a few different things. And anyway, so where was I? Yes. So whenever I was going through like the beginning of my autism journey or whatever, I had been told, so many different things throughout my life, or they just based it on what, my mom or, other people that were in my family, like what their diagnosis was. And we're just going to slap that on you too. And, we'll just throw you over onto the mental health side, but we're not really actually going to look into anything. We're not really going to spend, more than like 2 hours with you. And then we're just going to say like, okay, it's just anxiety or whatever. And like, here's this, here's that, pills are the solution, obviously. And then everything's going to be fine. And so, that's not really how it worked out for me, because I think that throughout life and going through different stuff, like as an autistic, we eventually figure out that it's not all just us. And so I think that the mental health stuff that's accumulated, things can come from that, or like worse for me, regulation issues like that happening. And then I'm just like, I don't even know what to do right now. Like, you need to do this. And so I can finish this, and then I'm going to lose thoughts. And then I'm not going to even want to do it anymore because I'm just done. And then I have to set her up, and I'm like just totally discombobulated, and I have to like regulate myself, a lot more as an adult than I should have to. Not because of my kids, but because of not knowing about being autistic my entire life. I think that some of the stuff that I could have learned to regulate those emotions and stuff wouldn't have led to, different anxiety disorders that were more extreme anxiety, or just having a lot of issues with emotional regulation and stuff like that. And so I knew that after I had gone to the last place, that I was like, okay, like they're obviously not getting it. Like I'm not getting anywhere with this, other than like every female on the spectrum is just bipolar or has BPD, and they're, that's they're not autistic. They just have all this. And so, like I said, I don't like to like separate things into genders or boxes. I mainly say that because that's how it really is. Whenever you're growing up, you're seen as a girl or you're seen as a boy or whatever, or at least in my upraising or whatever, like we didn't have all this, stuff going on. Or we may have felt some of those things about the genders, but we didn't really like open up about that. It just wasn't like that. And then for my parents' ages and stuff, like it was still going on, but a lot of it was still like it was hidden, whatever. So the way that we were looked at is like a test subject. And usually when there's a test subject, you got a male or a female. And so that is how it is, really is my experience in the United States, going through mental health places since I was a child and stuff. And being kind of told like, this is what's wrong with you and this is what's wrong with you, but we're not really going to actually take time to do that, to figure that out. So anyways, I think someone's at my door. I'm not sure, but I'm like introvert problems. Obviously this video is a total fluke today because I cannot and going through all these places that, are supposed to help or whatever, and they don't, because they literally sit with you in a room for like an hour and they're not observing anything except for what they're biasly, told to study or whatever. And this isn't like everywhere. This was my experience. And like sometimes it was just a TV screen or whatever. Like they couldn't even see if I was like stimming or doing anything really from the way that they observed. And then they just like give you medication after. So like if anybody else has been through that, I get it. And so that's what I went through for like 10 to 15 years before I actually found out that I was autistic, and then eventually got my diagnosis. And it was something that I didn't really give up on, I guess. Like I just kept on trying to figure out what was going on, because I thought that I was just, not meant to fit in or whatever. And like, this is just how it's going to be, but I'm going to figure out what's wrong with me, because it's obviously wrong with me. And then, whenever I get to figuring that out, it'll be fine and I'll be able to build relationships better, whatever. Anyhow, that's sort of like what I went through for a very long time. And like, I did go through different trauma and stuff like that growing up that, would cause me to have worse anxiety or PTSD and other, but I had all my traits, and I can remember everything and how I was as a kid before all of everything else kind of happened in my life. And so, they would have never really picked up on the autistic stuff, but it's very easy for them to throw something else at you that they really need to be able to actually watch and observe for longer periods of time, even to give you a bipolar or BPD or anything else diagnosis. It should be a more than one time meeting before they just sort of throw that on you. Now, if it's, I don't know if it's like super obvious in some people with some of that or whatever, but still it requires more time and patience. And there is a lack of that out there in the mental health world. I'm sure it's not much different from a few years ago, whenever I just finally, after like 10, 12 years, called it quits, because it was like they did the same thing in different places. And then if you're lower income, just expect even worse. is my experience. You know, and I'm considered, I guess, middle class now or whatever, but like, yeah, it doesn't really make it get better. Like you have to actually fight to get where you want to go, and to get the right help and stuff. But anyways, that's a whole nother subject on that. But I would say that, because of the extended amounts of time, because of the lack of observation and care and compassion to take the time, with people, they get thrown incorrect diagnosis or not the full, diagnosis of things. And when you go throughout your entire life with those and without the, um, rest of the information, then you, uh, find ways to cope. And some of those ways is, you know, through masking and changing your personality and trying to be who other people want you to be, becoming either really codependent or on the other side of things, like just all about your interest and, you know, just like this is what's going to be safe. And so I don't really have to do this people stuff or whatever because I obviously suck at it. Um, and I've experienced both of those sides of things. But anyways, I eventually, after going through minimalism, hey, this video is a mess, just FYI, because I got like distracted like 15 times. Okay, that's an exaggeration, like 5 times at least. And then I felt a little guilty because I needed to get back on. Anyway, when I was like going through my autism stuff, I stumbled upon minimalism actually before that, and that became kind of a special interest. And so it actually helped me to like empty out so much of my things and my house and my stuff and whatever that I didn't actually care about or need. And I wanted to do that and completely clear out my closet and all of that because, to be honest, I didn't know who I was anymore. Like, I realized how much of the codependency stuff that came on and how much of, how I became basically whatever chameleon personality that you needed me to be in whatever situation. And so, that I would say is a lot more dangerous than if you don't mask. And this is why you really shouldn't for your mental health, because what it does is if you're masking for 20 years for of some other sort of personality and you're trying to be whoever else in order to fit in or whatever, like you're going to develop some mental health stuff. You're going to develop a personality disorder, even. You're going to develop worse anxiety because you are holding every single thing that it's about your true self inside. And then you are never going to be able to shine your actual self. You're every time that you're putting that out there, you're putting this fake persona out there, you're dampening what light you could actually bring to somebody else. So once I kind of went through that, like emptied out my house, emptied out my closet, I went to like a thrift store or whatever, and I bought a whole bunch of pants with like pockets in it and things that I really loved and cargo stuff and like whatever. And I just had this like minimal wardrobe. And like I didn't do it all like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have anything, but I did it to where like it would help me to restart over my life and try to figure out like who I actually am again, which really was like having to go back to my childhood, revisiting those times where I like realized, oh my gosh, yes, I'm definitely autistic. I did this, whatever, whatever. And then fast forwarding to the future and being like, okay, I need to grab some of the good stuff that was from then and like pull it back into now. And that's what I can start with. I can start with like, what did I like as a kid? What did I like to do? Where did I like to go? What were my interests then? And then I started realizing that some of them were still there. And those are parts of my identity. And so after that, I got into the whole MBTI. I'm finally going to bring this into my videos. Because the Myers-Briggs and personality type testing and stuff like that, I would not suggest to use the 16 personalities type or 16 personalities test. There are plenty of them out there that are a lot more accurate. But when I got into it, I had no idea that it was about to be like one of my biggest special interests that I could possibly ever have. And then I was going to obsess about it till no end and annoy my husband like on a daily basis and just like freak everybody out around me because it was like mind blowing. And it wasn't to put myself in a box or other people in a box, but it did help me being also interested in psychology and philosophy and theology and all the ologies. It helped me to understand enough about how my brain works and like my cognitive functions, because that's what a lot of people don't get, is they think it's just like a personality test or whatever, and really it's so much more than that. It's deeper, and it actually has a lot to do with your functions, how this actually works. And so if you're understanding that about you, and you can see where your personality came from, and also kind of understand other people and why they may be opposite of you or similar or whatever, or how to work on things in relationships even, because of like knowing how each other's brain works, it can just bring a lot of mutual stuff. And that's all great. Relationships, fun, friendships, and all that stuff. But really, when it came to me, and that's when I was first digging into it, I was able to find out, well, what I thought my type was, and why it was so hard for me to actually nail down, my own, or for someone else to even nail down mine. Because, so, back to the personality stuff and with myself. But anyway, it was hard to nail down a type, I guess, or whatever for me, because I had either even grown in some areas already whenever I took the test, or I've also been through different past traumas and stuff like that. And so whenever you take the test, like, it can be very difficult. And so that's why I like that there's other ones that ask the questions a little bit differently, especially being autistic. Sometimes we take stuff too literally, or we're just like super analytical and we overthink the whole dang thing. And next thing you know, we're like got 5 different choices. So it's not like an easy thing to do at first. And some people get it like right then. But it helped me to understand like the way I function, and what I lacked, but also what I was super good at. And so I ended up with an NTP type, and I'm just going to say NTP because like I'm an ambivert, and like, so it really does switch. Like I know that you have more of one type, which mine would be more probably ENTP. And I'll go on like a basic video eventually of what that even means, because that just sounds ridiculous. But it's basically one of the, just analytical types, period, except for I'm ADHD as crap. And so it makes me look super extroverted, and really it drains me to be around people too much. And then I don't realize it. And then I have meltdowns, whatever, ambivert issues, social anxiety issues. I don't know, whatever. Yay. So, once I went through thinking I was this or whatever, and I finally like got to nailing that down, I was able to see like, okay, like I'm good at like having ideas, making ideas, creating things, innovative, analytical stuff, overthinking, but in a good way, building stuff. Oh, dude, yes, Yoda shirt. Gosh, I'm horrible with live videos, guys. I'm just like ding, ding, and then forget what I'm talking about. But y'all keep commenting because whatever. It's great. I love y'all's comments. I'm just so all over the place. Like, I'll get there. But yeah, so Yoda is actually an INFJ. So if you're anything like Yoda, you are an INFJ type of personality. I wish I was calm and collected enough. Not that they always are. Like, that's just the stereotype. They're like the counselor or whatever. They're the Yoda of the world. Um, but, and I actually typed as that first. I was one of those. It's like so far from the truth. But yeah, so innovative, overthinker, analytical, creative. I mean, just think of the light bulb symbol, and that is the ENTP type. Like, we are just lit up, and we're ready to make some stuff. We're ready to design some stuff. And we're thinking constantly. And a lot of us are ADHD. It's not all of us, but it's definitely me. And, you know, a lot of the autistics are like, you know, that I guess like are stereotyped or whatever. Autistics, like Sheldon Cooper, are INTPs. So they're like the introverted self of me or whatever. But anyway, those are some of the good things, like just kind of being able to see all of that. And then realizing, okay, so those are the good parts of the function. So where do I lack? Like, what do I need to work on? And so when it comes to that, that's like every function that is the opposite of me. So once you get like dive, just dive right in, get lost in the rabbit hole like I did. I am peer pressuring you. Just be a Jedi and go for it. But once you really see like that it's a tool, it's not like all 100% accurate. All the stereotypes aren't true, but it is a very good tool to see how you function and what you need. So mine is the ISFJ. So basically, I almost married that type, and that's how opposite my husband and I are in a lot of ways. He's an ISTP. So the ISFJ types, though, they're going to be a lot more detailed about things in the beginning. They're going to be able to like make decisions a lot better, and it turns out Ps are just not so great at that. Or as far as the ENTPs, the INTPs, maybe even worse on this, is that we struggle with following through with things. So I can like have all these ideas and all these things, and then like I never make a YouTube channel, and I'm just like, because I got too tired from over analyzing it. Yes, I could see the INFP T and scribbles. I could definitely see that. They're not totally different in certain ways from my type. I just am a lot more like, I look like just the Mad Hatter mixed with something else. Okay. So, and it's not Yoda, because I'm a little bit more extreme than that. I'd be like Yoda with a mohawk. So, yes, back to it. But yes, so Ps really have a lot of hard times sometimes following through with things. They can be creative. Same with like the INFP types or whatever. Super creative, super fun. But we don't have that J. So we don't have this I would say the natural ability to have this picture and be able to create it, and then we're like, let's get it done, and then that is it, and now we are making money, or we're doing productivity here. We sort of like and like slip out of that. And so for me, it's taught me, okay, like, well, obviously I need more discipline, and I need to have, you know, this grow better self-esteem and not just look at all the negative sides of things. I need to work on getting all the details of stuff together, or being in the moment, because INTP, ENTPs, like stuff like that, I would say just intuitive types, period, cannot be in the moment very easily, and I am horrible at that. So I have to learn to be more attentive, so I can be more productive, and so I can try to make a YouTube video at least once a week, because I'm being more like a decider and not completely indecisive constantly. And so anyways, bunch of randomly jumbled up stuff, but I'm going to start bringing on a little bit of MBTI type videos on here a little bit, and kind of how that's helped with my autism journey, and how it's helped me to learn to actually like use a planner, because my brain is just too all over and I can't even remember people's names. Like, it's getting bad. I mean, worse. It was already bad. Now, my executive functioning, I feel like, is just slipping in the short-term memory area. And so, like, that is why a lot of this stuff has helped me, because I'm like, if I'm not overanalyzing so much and I'm not using my first two functions, which is the NE, which is ideas and travel and, new things. And then my TI, which is internal thinking. And that is where all that overthinking and all that stuff goes on. If I'm not using the other stuff, and learning to use what other people opposite me are doing, then I can't, then I'm going to flood my brain with too much, and then I'm not going to be able to use my energy to actually produce something. So, anyway, it'll make sense later when I'm not so discombobulated. I think, like, me getting interrupted a few times, I'm not upset about it. I'm more just like, well, this did not quite go as planned. But yeah, I'm going to get more into that on the next. My goal, that is the bigger picture. So it turns out, like, people say, like, we are more about the details usually if we're autistic, and can't see the bigger picture. I can see it, I just forget about it, and then I get stuck and lost in the details. There's totally a difference. And there's also other types that are completely different than me, like the ISTJ, for instance, seen like as the Spock type, and closer to my husband's type, closer to this guy on the shirt, this Mandalorian guy. Where is he at? He's somewhere. Anyways, Mandalorian would be more an ISTJ type, and they're like, this is the way, and they're like ready to get things done. And I'm like, I need some of that, because I do not have any. I just float around to like 15 different things. So I'm going to kind of bring that in, kind of help people understand like how that can help with some of your identity issues, or like learning more about yourself again, and just being able to sort of dig in and see that, and not only see, oh gosh, I cannot do any of these things, but also I can help other people with my ideas. Like, let's see, how many of you are actually on here that I know are making different stuff to help people? So Kai, and I know Tea and Scribbles does some different stuff. And Kai is actually going to be starring on my YouTube soon, to discuss like her books and what she's doing to help others. And so like that's her using that cognitive function in her brain. Like, she is not just using it and kind of keeping it in, she's learning to use it and put it out to sort of help other people, kind of like I'm learning to do as well. And then Tea and Scribbles actually has her own channel, and she tries to help give advice or information, and does a lot of other fun things on there. And so whenever you start to sort of grasp what the MBTI is about, it doesn't just help with, oh, cool, I can just slap this label on me also. No, it's like really going to help your mind see things in a different light. And anyway, it's a good tool. It's helped me a lot. I don't know what I would have done without that after learning about being autistic. I would probably still be struggling and not be able to maybe even make this channel or whatever, which is half good today, and other days it's better. But it really has also helped with my mental health. So it's something to look into. Once I start getting it together, I'm going to be putting different links of places that I would say are better to go and take a test from, but at the same time, like digging in, looking into things yourself, and really getting a grasp on this is the way. See, I'm getting more Mandalorian-y. That's not a word. I just totally crashed that. But I would like to learn more about being a Yoda, and the Mandalorian, and but not putting those personalities totally on me, like keeping what I have that's good, creative, and fun about me, and then being able to add to or grow in where I'm lacking. And so it's just all about growth. It's like a tool, it's about growth. And then, of course, like all the other tests and stuff that you get down rabbit holes with. But anyhow, I just want to get on here, kind of do a video on that today. And I will be trying to get together my phone because my other one broke, and that's why I'm having to do lives right now. So once that is settled, hopefully I can set up this piece of junk that I'm having to use and get back to where I can record them and kind of easier put that information out there. But yes, if you are a Yoda, you need to be more like whatever the opposite of a Yoda is and see where that gets you. And then if you're not like a Yoda at all, maybe we need to meditate more or something. Do some yoga or whatever Yoda would do, because Yoda knows the way, the Mandalorian knows the way that I need to go. And yeah, so just some stuff I'm working on, and hopefully in the next week or so I can bring more of that to the surface and explain that. But I'm going to leave on the note something that's just coming to mind. Look, it's my extroverted intuition. It's my alien powers. I did that for you, Ken. Is that if you have gone through like a lot of different mental health places and you're struggling with getting a diagnosis, if that's something that you really want, then just don't give up. But also don't listen to like everything that you hear from, if they just try to slap something on, because that happens more likely than not. And if you really need that, then just remember to know yourself. And I think like kind of learning some of these tools will help you to be a little bit more concrete in how your mind works, where you're going, and being able to differentiate between your autistic stuff and your mental health, and not it just kind of all clashing together. And that has helped me a lot to sort of separate, like, this is this thing and this is this one, and there's good and bad over here, good and bad over here, and I need to work on like healthy like, yes, putting that together in who I want to be now. And I still have a lot of work to do, on me and what I'm trying to grow to, but hopefully that wasn't just a complete disaster. And I will see y'all next time on the Sarah Upside Down Show. Bye.